What's up, beautiful people? It's your girl, M. Williams, on this short hair tutorial. This is a tutorial. It's going to go at regular speed. Regular speed. No speeding it up. Just regular speed, you guys. So here, I've already cut the mannequin. I've already styled the mannequin pretty much. Well, actually curled the mannequin. Curled already. And so now I'm just styling it out for you guys. Just styling it out for you guys. So it's a few different tools that you can use to style out. Sometimes I style out when I style hair. It could be short hair, long hair. Sometimes I just use my fingers to style it out. So sometimes I use my fingers as a comb. I'm showing you this. This is called a rat tail comb with a metal tip. Rat tail comb. So you can comb it out with this. You can use your hands and fingers. Or you can use a rake comb. So the difference is if you use your hands and fingers, which you're probably going to end up using anyway, just to do some, tweaking. The rat tail comb, you can use it with a metal rat tail or you can use it with the plastic tail, either way. Now the back of the head of this mannequin, please don't laugh. I just shaved it all the way, pretty much all the way off, so I wouldn't have to worry about curling all the way down that far. So that's why you see that. This is just one of my practice mannequins, and sometimes I style on it and post pictures on my social media. So sometimes you may want to show a style that you do, but you may not at that moment have a client that may want that style. So and when you don't have a client that you're trying to show the style for, a mannequin is always available. You can get them at the beauty supply store. You can order them on Amazon. But pretty much back to the styling. And so I'm using the metal tip, the metal rat tail part of the tip of the comb, which gives you like some precise type of styling. And the rake is almost like a comb, except one thing about the rake combs, when you're styling with a rake, it doesn't comb the curls out. Like you don't lose the curls, it just kind of moves them around. So then with me using my fingers, that's how you do some precision placement. You can place exactly where you want when you're using your fingers. So it's so close up because I picked up my camera phone and just zoomed in and picked it up and showed you guys. You can also do this kind of squanching that you see I'm doing on the hair, just to kind of move it around, or to add some height to the curls. You can do that. See, I'm kind of adding height and lifting the curls up some. Like I said, with your hands, you can do your hands and your fingers, you can do more placement, more intricate placement after you've used the comb and the rake. So I'm just showing you this look. This is the final outcome of that cut and style. So this right here is the final outcome. It came out beautifully. And again, if you're trying to learn more about... So here I have a second mannequin. Short hair, so this one is already cut, already shampooed and cut. So I'm just double checking the cut. I'm going to pull the camera back so you can see. Just checking the cut. So this is more like a mohawk cut or Kelly cut, whichever you prefer. This is Design Essentials Botanical Oil. It's a little bit heavy, not super, super heavy, but a little bit heavy. So you can put some oil in the hair when it's wet or dry, whichever you prefer. Now this mannequin's hair is different than the other mannequin that I showed you, the first mannequin. This second mannequin, the hair is coarser. So I put a little bit more oil. This mousse is Influence mousse. So one thing about the Influence mousse, wherever you put it, that's pretty much where it's going to be. It's not really watery or runny. And so it just kind of stays wherever you place it, as you can see. So I'm just going to mold it down. Molding is very key and very important, because molding is pretty much you putting the hair in the style that you're going to curl it in. So it's like a precursor. Like it's just like a template. So pretty much when you put the mousse on it and you mold the hair, you're pretty much telling the hair which way you want to go, and you're pretty much telling the hair how it's going to be styled. So that's all I'm doing now. I put the mousse on there, the Influence mousse, honey foam mousse by Influence. And you do have to be a licensed cosmetologist to get that mousse from a distributor. Or you can buy it from a hairstylist that retails it. So I'm just molding. And when you're molding, the key thing is to keep the hair as smooth as possible, because if you have any areas in the hair that's not smoothed out, once the hair is dried, you're going to see those imperfections. So if you don't smooth it out, you see how I smoothed it with the comb, and then I'm running my hands down the hair as well. That's going to make it smooth. Again, if it dries with some imperfections, it's going to be shown when it comes out of the dryer. When the client is removed from the dryer, any imperfections are going to show up. So I'm just double checking everything. Again, the mold is very important and very key to the outcome. It's very key to the final results. It's very key to the final look, the finished look. Very key. So again, this mannequin's hair is coarser than the first mannequin that you saw me style. The hair is coarser. And so I'm putting a little bit more product because of that. Now that beautiful picture that you see right behind the mannequin's head, I ordered that from an artist on Instagram. I'll be sure to put her Instagram information below in the description box, as well as everything that I'm using, okay? Now, once you have molded the hair down like you just saw me do, and you smoothed it down, you take some paper strips. So I usually use 2. You saw me with 2. I stretch them a little, and I put it on. Now, you can either have the client hold the strip while you get the other strips prepped, or you can put some mousse on there like I did. Anything wet is going to hold it on so it won't fall off. Then I'm going to get 2 other strips. I keep them together. I stretch them out like you see me doing. And then I put that on as well. Same thing, I'm going to dampen the strip so it won't slide off while I get the other strip. Then the final strip is going to be just one strip instead of two. One, as you see me pointing that one finger up. This is the strip that you're going to tie it up so that the other two strips will stay on and won't slide off. So you just tie it in a knot. And then you're going to place your mannequin, or if you have a client, you're going to place your client under the dryer. So I'm just making sure everything is correct. That's the final look from the first mannequin. Finished look. That's a better view of it. Just wanted to show you that again. And here's another view of it. It's the first mannequin. The only reason it looks a little bit longer in this picture, because I curled this curl. I curled it the other day. And here we go. The second mannequin that I just placed the strips on has dried, and now I'm just smoothing the hair out with the blow dryer again. This mannequin's hair is a little bit coarser, on the coarser side. And I have my dimming brush and my blow dryer. And I'm just blowing the hair. You had already seen me when I molded it, put some of that Design Essentials oil, botanical oils, probably about a dime size amount, in my hands and emulsified it and put it all through the hair. And the oils, of course, help the hair not to be dry. But the oils, they also help when you're curling the hair. It helps the flat iron or curling iron or whatever you're using. It helps it to slide through the hair a little bit easier when you're trying to curl. Because sometimes you can be trying to curl and trying to slide the flat iron, and it's just not sliding. It's kind of stiffer. So when you put some type of oil on there, on the hair, or some type of serum, that helps with that. I'm just blowing it out. Make sure I don't have any dampness in the hair. And now I'm going to use another Design Essentials product spray. I'm going to put everything in the description box below. So any type of oil, as I mentioned. Now here's a little oil sheen. Then this is a mannequin, so. And again, this mannequin's hair is pretty tough, so I'm putting a lot of product in the hair because it's a mannequin. And the hair is super coarse. That's some got-to-be glued spray. Normally, I would use a Kenra spray, but this is a mannequin, so I'm just using that got-to-be glued. So I'm kind of separating the top from the bottom, the front of the head from the back of the head. So I'm going to clip that out the way, and I'm going to start curling. I hope this view is okay for you guys. I was doing the best I could with the view and my setup that I had. Because I'm right-handed, so I had to have all my tools on the right. Didn't really want to show you guys a shampoo bowl, but this is the setup that I had. And that little smoke is from me spraying the oil. Some of it got on the flat iron. So I'm getting my comb together, getting everything ready for you guys. And I'm about to start curling. So the hair on this mannequin is very thick and coarse. So you're going to see me making the sections as thin as possible because the hair is so thick and coarse. So I'm just curling straight down, pretty much on base, On base just means that you start the curl at the root, at the scalp, and you just take the curl all the way down. So we call it, in cosmetology school, we call it on base, meaning on the scalp. So pretty much a tight curl. That's why you see me keeping it close to the scalp. That's called on base in cosmetology school. So I'm just going down. I'm keeping it in normal speed. And I'm doing this on my day off, so I'm tired. So if it seems like I'm just taking my time, I am. Because number one, I wanted this to be like a tutorial. And number two, this is my day off that I'm doing this on, and I'm tired. Just FYI. So again, keeping it on base. Now that curling iron, you see how it's not square, it's kind of rounded. So when you have those flat irons and they're more rounded, it's easier to kind of curl too when you're making like drop curls or you're making tight curls like what I'm doing. It's way easier. To me, it's a little bit easier. So you see how easy the flat iron is gliding through the hair? That's because of the product, the Design Essentials Botanical Oil that I put in the hair when it was wet before it dried. Also, the other two oils that I put in there, that's helping it glide. So that when I pull the flat iron, it'll just glide right down the hair. See, I'm barely having to do much and you don't want to put too much oil. Only reason I put a lot because, again, this is a mannequin. Like most clients, you definitely don't have to put as much as you saw me putting. The dime size of the botanical oil by Design Essentials, it would have been enough if you put it in there when the hair is wet. And once the client's hair dry, maybe a little bit of SHEEN or a little bit of serum, but not a whole lot once it's dried. So you see how smooth and how easy it is to maneuver the flat iron. So the size of those flat irons are, I think, 1 inch. So the curl is not super tight. It's a nice size curl. So I used to be so intimidated with short hair, but really, I think the main thing for me was the styling of it. You know, there's a method to the madness with anything that pertains to hair. Cutting it, I can do that. You know, coloring it, I can do that. Shampooing it, I can do that. Curling it, I can do that. I mean, everything. But the final thing is with short hair, in my opinion, the main thing is styling it out, combing it out, you know, the finished look. And so, you know, when you see people doing short hair, you know, they just curling. You know, they don't look like they doing anything special. They're just curling it just like what you see me doing now. But the whole thing is the finished look. In my opinion, is that finished look. Like they're just putting curls in there just like you see me doing. But it's all about, again, the molding, because the molding is the foundation of the style, of any style, especially short styles. So when you're molding the hair, you're pretty much already telling the hair how you're going to style it. Pretty much telling the hair how you're going to style it. So Basically, when you see any stylist doing short hair, they're just throwing curls in there like you see me doing. They're curling it, and it looks very simple because they're just curling it. But the main thing of it, to me, with short hair and pixie styles and all that, is definitely the cut, the molding, the curling, and definitely the styling. If you don't know how to style it out, to me, that's one of the key things. Because you can have all those other things, be doing them great. But if you don't know how to style that hair out with them pixie styles, to me, that's key. And then with the waving and finger waving, you don't have to know how to do that. The waving is easy, and most clients that wear short hair, they wear the waves on the sides. So sometimes stylists will just put the waves on the sides. Sometimes they may put the waves in the back on the nape, but 9 times out of 10 when they do that, they just curl it. So you don't have to, in my opinion, knowing how to do the finger waves is not a huge deal, because most short hair clients, the majority of them wear the waves on the sides. So I've cut the hair on the side so short, I'm just going to bump it with this pencil iron, just bump a couple of places. And with short hair, too, you have to make sure that you have the right tools, the proper implements and tools, and you got to make sure, that you have good quality stuff. So you've seen me curling the sides. You've already seen me curl the back. And the top is way longer, so. And this mannequin has a lot of hair. It's super thick and coarse. So I'm just going in regular speed. I'm going to just continue to do on-base curls. So you're going to see me going over there on the curling on. It's on my left. Curling on the other side. I'm going to be angling most of the curls over that way, and then I'm going to switch it up, as you're going to see. So the Kelly cut, to me, in my opinion, is pretty much like a mohawk. And you can keep the tail long, or you can keep the tail in the back short. But in my opinion, it's kind of like, it looks just like a mohawk. But the new term for it is Kelly cut. When I say Kelly, it's Kelly, Kelly cut. Where the sides are short, the back is long, a tail. You can leave it with a tail, or you can cut the tail down. So now I'm just starting at the top, apex of the head, and I'm about to start curling on that side, trying to reposition my mannequin. And just watch me curling. This mannequin's hair is so thick, I'm having to use like 2 or 3 clips to hold it. It's just super thick. Just curling, and I'm kind of angling the curl backwards, like back towards the back of the head. So I'm taking the curl kind of back towards the back of the head. I'm getting another clip because the hair is so thick. It's just won't stay still because it's super thick. Sorry, my arm is in you guys' way. This is the only kind of setup I kind of had for today. So I'm hoping I'm not hindering you too much. But doing the same type curls I was doing all the way around, except I'm taking the curls back towards the back of the head. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to change it up in a minute, but right now I'm taking the curls back. So the molding it is pretty much too like you're pretty much training and telling the hair which way it has to go once you start styling. Because if you mold it one way and try to do it a whole different way, try to curl it a different way, the hair is not going to lay right. Because however you mold it, that's how it's going to turn out. Still curling. And so again, that oil helps the flat iron to glide. It makes it easier to glide. And one thing I always kind of joke about with a mannequin is a client who's always going to show up on time, always going to be available whenever you need them to be. So this is a mannequin. And they're not pricey. I think they're like $30, $35, something like that. And it's human hair, so. And you can pretty much almost see how the style is coming together. I just kept the curls kind of big. At the end, when I start styling it out and start kind of tweaking the style, because all the curls at the top is with this bigger iron as you see me using. So at the end, when I start styling it out, because one thing about it, you can't really make a mistake, because what happens is when you get to the end of curling the hair, and then when you get to the part where you're styling the hair, you can always go back and tweak. I mean, stylists always go back and tweak. Even those who've been doing short hair forever, they still go back and tweak. And so, say for instance, I'm using this bigger curling iron, flat iron, to style and put the curls in. But once I get to the part where I start styling it, then you're going to see where I'm tweaking a little, because I'm going to want some of the curls to be smaller in the front. And what happens is when you start styling it out, styling the client's hair, that's when you're going to determine, because everything's going to start coming together. You're going to really start seeing the style. Of course, you see the style when you're molding it. Of course, you see the style when you're curling it. But you definitely see the style when you're styling it. That's when you see it. You actually really, really see it when you start styling it. Because when you're molding it, you're imagining the style in your head. When you're curling it, you're imagining the finished style in your head. But when you actually start styling it, that's when you definitely actually see the style. So that's when you're going to see where you need to go back and tweak this or tweak that, or where you may have put a big curl and now you want a smaller curl, because the finished look is coming together and you're actually seeing this work of art that you've created. You've actually seen how it's going to look. So you may have some curls and they may look too big and not curled enough. So you just get your curling iron the next step down, the next smaller size, and just throw some curls. And in the front, it may look better with some curls, some of them being bigger and some smaller. So like I said, when you finish and you start styling the hair out and start seeing how the style is coming together, that's where you can do some additional tweaking, whether it be bigger curls or smaller curls, or whether you change the direction of the curls. That will all be on you when you're trying to accomplish the finished look. So I'm still curling. I'm almost done in the front. The hair is so thick, you're going to see me several times trying to split this section up because the hair is so thick. It's very thick. So these curls that I'm putting in the front, the mere fact that they're in the front, they're going to end up being a little looser. And so I'm going to tweak them at the end. Now watch with this piece. I'm trying my best. It's so thick. Because I don't want to put a really big, thick curl up there. Especially in the front, so. And you wouldn't either when you're doing someone's hair. You don't want to put a big old, really big curl. All the rest of the curls have been like kind of smaller sections. And now you're putting a really big curl when you get up there. I'm still trying to do on base. In the front, the hair is way longer. So I'm curling it back towards the back of the head, on base. And the hair is longer, so having to pull that flat iron down more because the hair is so much longer in the front. So now once I finish curling and start styling, then that's where I'm probably going to be like, okay, I want these curls in the front to be a little tighter because they're kind of bigger. So we're going to see what happens when I start styling it out. Again, when you start styling it out, that's where you want to start tweaking and making any changes if you need to. It's okay. Every stylist does it. So a lot of times too, so now I'm about to start styling. I'm putting a little bit more oil. It's just going to help me maneuver through the hair. So I haven't even started styling. All I've done is curled. That's it. So now you're about to see me styling. Everything is still on regular speed. I haven't sped up anything. So now I'm going to start off with the rat tail, the metal tip part of the comb. Just pulling out the curls basically and separating the curls is all that I'm doing. And pretty much, using my fingers. As I said, when you use your fingers and your hands to style the hair, you pretty much making things more precise. Because you can place stuff exactly where you want it, the strands of hair, when you use your fingers. So I'm still using the tail end of the comb, kind of raking it through, breaking up the curls. And a lot of times, these styles, they look so cute when the curls are not uniform. They're just going in different directions. Some of them going to the left, some are going to the right. Some are going upwards, some are going backwards, some going towards the front of the head, some towards the back, some to the side. I mean, that's what make a lot of these styles look so cute. And see, I'm about to start tweaking because I'm going to curl. I'm going to get the smaller iron because you see I used that bigger white flat iron in the front. Now I see that there's some areas that I need to tweak, like I was telling you. So whenever you curl, you know, it's good to let the curl kind of cool off a little bit, because that kind of, the coolness sets the curl. So I'm still styling it out. As I said, once you start styling it out and pulling the curls out, then you may see a little hole where you need to put some more curls, or you may see the curls that you put in there. In some areas, they may be too big of a curl, so you can make the curl smaller. That's where you tweak, because now you're not just envisioning the style, you're actually seeing it, because now you're combing it out. So once you're seeing it, there's no imagination, there's reality. You're seeing it right in your face, and you're styling it out, and then you may need to add some, because you can see in the front already that the curls look a little bit too big. It's fun for them and okay for them to be bigger in the back. But once I'm combing out this front, I'm seeing that these curls in the front look too big, like in the fringe area, which is AKA bang area, like in the front, the curls look too big to me. So I'm going to do some more tweaking like I did on the other side. But it's all coming together. I'm pulling the curls, trying to see if they will comply and cooperate. If the look don't come together how I want it to, then all I have to do is put some smaller curls, and that's what I'm going to do in the front. So, again, once you start styling it out, that's how you're going to see, because it's going to be coming together right in. See that curl right there that I just touched? It's too loose. So that's why it won't fall into place. So now you see me getting, because the hair in the front of the mannequin is way longer than the back. So that's why the curls, see how I put that smaller curl and it just fell into place where it's supposed to be? So the curls in the front are kind of too big, because the hair in the front is way longer than everywhere else. So I'm still tweaking, I'm still styling, I'm still trying to see if the curls in the front are going to comply and lined up and get in position like they need to for the style I'm doing. And if they don't, that's fine. All I have to do is just put some smaller curls. Still styling, trying to see, still using that tail end of the comb to kind of pull out those curls with it. And still trying to see if I think the top needs some tighter curls. Still trying to decide. So you always, with hair, especially short pixie styles and styles like this, you always want to look at the profile, which means the side. You want to get a side view, because you want the side to look as good as the front. Like you want the style to look good from every angle, from the front, the back, the sides. And so I'm still styling. Sometimes it may take you a little while to get the finished look together, but don't give up. Just continue to style. And like I said, the comb does what it does. The rake does what it does. So look at this curl. It barely has a curl in it, this piece. So here we go with the small curling on. So I'm still tweaking. And like I said, every stylist does this. You have to tweak. You may not have to, but a lot of times you may have to. And if you do, it's fine. If you have to, that's fine. So you see it's looking better already because I'm putting the smaller curls there. Because that big curling iron for in the front, the curls are a little bit too loose. So you make sure when you're curling, you drag that curling iron all the way to the ends of that hair, because if you don't, it's going to be what we call in cosmetology school, it's going to fishtail. That's where the ends of the hair don't curl, and it'll be sticking out in another direction. So drag that flat iron all the way through so that you can curl. So all of that whole piece of hair will run through that curling iron, that flat iron. If not, it's going to be what we call a fishtail. So I'm still tweaking. I'm still pulling out some of these pieces of hair that looked like, the curl was too loose. And I'm curling it. I'm pulling the iron to the ends of the hair. There we go. See how it's coming together better now? So I still got pieces in the front I got to curl. I'm still tweaking and styling and seeing if the hair will comply. Here's another curl that looks too loose. And when you see me stopping and looking, I got this mannequin. I'm standing right in front of my mirror on my station. My station, when I look over that way where I'm looking now, I'm looking at the mirror. My station is right there. So I'm still tweaking, still styling, still tweaking, still styling. It's coming together better because the curls was a little too loose. So I'm checking the curls. Now, practicing on mannequins are great. And once you get your confidence up, and then that's when you can start, doing the customers. But definitely if you can have it looking great on a mannequin, then you definitely can have it looking great on somebody's hair. So, if you can style it and have it looking good on a mannequin, then you're off to a good start. So just bear with me here. I'm holding my camera phone and making this video myself. So I'm trying to zoom in for you guys. So that's why it's not at the greatest angles. I'm still kind of tweaking the style. And you're going to be seeing the finished look shortly. Here we go. So I made it like a double. But here's the finished look. It came out really nice. But it's all about the tweaking. Because when you get to the end, you can add some finishing touches. And here I am right here. I hope you've enjoyed this video. This is where you find me. Comment, like, subscribe.